Well, the same man, John Morton, who said he may or may not process illegals sent to him by the state of Arizona, he doesn't like the Arizona immigration law, now plans on using your tax dollars to make sure that illegals who are arrested in this country enjoy the best facilities possible while detained by the U.S. government. Bingo, dance classes, and movie nights, all paid for by you. Hugh Hewitt is a talk show host and a professor at Chapman University School of Law. Hugh, I'm not even sure I believe it. I mean, the Houston Chronicle comes out with this report, and I thought, that can't be right. But let me just read the folks a list. This is what we're now going to pay for so that the illegals in this country get to enjoy themselves. Hanging plants, email access, free phone service, dance classes, movie nights, art classes, cooking classes, tutoring, fresh veggie bars. We have to make sure that they have the little celery and carrot stalks so that they enjoy their time before they get bounced back to Mexico in a country that is hemorrhaging money and has a near 10% unemployment rate. You take it from there.
Yeah, we have a $1.6 trillion deficit, Megyn, but we can afford to put on bingo for detainees in these private detention centers. And you're right, this is an internal email obtained by the Houston Chronicle from the Immigration Custom Enforcement Service. And the phrase, the inmates running the asylum, comes to mind. And it's not just ICE, it's not just John Morton, the head of ICE. It's the entire Department of Justice. It's Eric Holder on the way down. It is a leaderless, dysfunctional agency. And, you know, the Republicans in the Congress, led by Darrell Issa, are demanding some answers, and Jeff Sessions in the Senate. And they've got to get them, because this is just crazy. Bingo for border jumpers is not going to play anywhere in the United States.
Are we kidding? I mean, free phone service? Why would we be paying for the illegals' phone calls back to, the folks across the border when they've broken our laws? They've come into this country illegally. We catch them. We put them in the jail with the hanging plants now and the carrot sticks and the bingo. Then we have to pay for their phone calls? We do? Why? I don't want to pay for the illegals' phone calls.
And not only do we pay for it, there is a security issue here. Some of these people have not been convicted of anything. They are going to be sent back over the border, but they nevertheless represent an unknown risk to other Border Patrol personnel. We just saw that very disturbing video at the top of the show. No one should jump to a conclusion as a result of that, but the border is a very dangerous place, and people who jump the border, whether or not they've been convicted in the past, represent people that you cannot allow internet and free cell phone access to until you're absolutely certain who they are. Repatriation, humane treatment, absolutely. I know you agree with me on that, Megyn.
Yeah, of course.
But all this other stuff is just nuts. And this Department of Justice is out of control, and John Morton is obviously incompetent to handle the administration of ICE.
And I want to get to what Morton told Fox News about his Arizona policy in a minute. But before we go there, I just want to be sure we know who we're talking about. Apparently, it's Beth Gibson, who is ICE's senior counsel, she's the counselor to Morton. Okay, so it's this woman, Beth Gibson, and John Morton, who like this policy. And Gibson defended this policy by saying, when people come to our custody, we're detaining them to effect their removal. It's about deportation. It's not about punishing people for a crime they committed. So apparently they're fine with this, but the unions, ICE's local unions, Hugh, are not, because the other thing that ICE is deciding to do, along with the hanging plants and the taxpayer-funded bingo, is they are now planning to reduce or possibly even eliminate pat-down searches. And the local ICE agents who have to handle this are saying, not such a great idea when you're dealing with charged lawbreakers.
Yeah, you don't know who these people are. As I said, that leading representative of ICE, who was quoted in the Houston Chronicle, made the very obvious point that when you do not know who you're dealing with, you cannot afford to err on the side of making them comfortable and giving them access, allowing visitors for 12 hours at a time, allowing people to have free and easy access around the facility. They're called low security until it's too late to know that they're not. And, Megyn, I think this will be reversed rather quickly. It's got to be, but boy, does it evidence dysfunction at the ICE and within the entire Department of Justice.
All right, now I want to talk to you about Morton, because he came out, and we broke the story on a national basis right here on America Live, and said, this is a couple weeks ago, and said he doesn't think the Arizona law is, quote, good government, and that ICE will not necessarily process the illegals referred to it by the state of Arizona, saying, I believe a comprehensive federal approach is best, and the Arizona law is not the solution. He really didn't make any bones about the fact that he hates the law. Then he got all sorts of bad publicity. Then people started to complain once the Chicago Tribune interviewed him, and then we broke the story on a national basis. Now he comes out and tells our justice producer, Hugh, well, The truth of the matter is we just don't have sufficient resources to identify and apprehend and remove every single person in this country unlawfully. And then he says, so this is the modification. So we'll continue to accept the referrals from the state of Arizona. We'll take the referrals, just as we now do. But we will continue to make a decision on a case-by-case basis in light of our resources and our priorities about whether to deport them. So you tell me, is this a man who we can count on to do his job and deport the illegals sent to him by Arizona or not?
No, of course not. When you say the rule of law, it means the rule of the entire law. It doesn't mean the rule of law when you pick winners and losers from Arizona and other states. John Morton is clearly a political appointee who's pursuing a political agenda of attempting to take care of political constituencies that the White House is concerned about coming into the November election, primarily Latino voters. And so he's trying to have it both ways. He now realizes he stepped on a hornet's nest. Most Americans support the idea that the immigration law ought to be enforced vigorously without fear or favor. And when he indicated, both to the Chicago Tribune, as reported on your show, that he was going to pick winners and losers and he was against Arizona, the blowback was intense. He probably got a phone call from Rahm Emanuel, who told him to shut up. Well, he didn't shut up. He said again yesterday in this press conference he's going to continue to pick winners and losers. He is not the kind of person to inspire confidence that the law will be firmly and fairly applied. If there's a constitutional argument that they want to have, and the Department of Justice has not yet said whether they're going to challenge the Arizona law, because if they do, they're going to lose. It's a constitutional law. He is not supposed to be doing anything except executing the immigration laws of the United States. If he cannot do that without equivocation, he ought to quit. If he cannot apply the law firmly, fairly, humanely, he ought to go and do something for which he is prepared, clearly not administration of justice.
Well, that is what Senator Jeff Sessions said the day that we broke that here on this program, and nothing's happened so far. He does say, Morton says, we'll wait to see what the Attorney General and his team decide, and he doubles down again saying, I think the federal government is the primary enforcer of immigration laws, and that's the right policy. He doesn't like the Arizona law. We know the president doesn't like the Arizona law. The Attorney General doesn't like the Arizona law, and now the head of ICE saying, while we wait to see what we're going to do with these illegals, bingo. I-49. Thanks, Hugh.
Bingo.